The allegations started at 3:47 p.m. on a Saturday during the peak of the Caldwell family gathering. I was seated at the distant end of a picnic bench in Riverside Park, scooping potato salad and attempting to disappear. I hunched my shoulders low. My father rose, holding his beer aloft. "Family means the world," he declared. "We appear for each other, we back one another, we assist each other." He stopped, his gaze fixing on me. "The majority of us do." Aunt Celeste jumped in immediately. "Certain individuals grasp the meaning of kindness," she remarked, reciprocating. Uncle Ray glared at me as if I owed him the very oxygen. "And certain individuals only consider their own needs." My mother rose with her hands tightly joined. "I'm simply going to state it. Our daughter Mara has never assisted anyone in this family, not even once. She's self-centered to the core." Heads swiveled together. Cousins, relatives by marriage, the aunt who continued to squeeze my cheeks as though I were still 8. My heartbeat pounded so fiercely I could sense it in my teeth. When Tessa required money for rent, Mom continued. When Ray sought a loan, when Nana's expenses piled high, where was Mara? Absent entirely, Dad replied, satisfied, because Mara places no value on family. My fork hung suspended. I might have spoken in my defense, but I discovered that justifications only added kindling. The reality was far more complicated than their version. Endless phone calls, claim documents, and bare minimum payments on accounts I hadn't created. I was finished begging in front of everyone, so I lowered the fork and grabbed my phone. "Me, Jude, are you nearby?" "Jude, 5 minutes." Federal agents accompanying me. A wave of relief washed over me. Calm, sharp, pure. I set the phone next to my plate and allowed the faintest smile to form on my face. Then stones shifted underfoot behind us, firm steps drawing near, and the gathering's noise started to fade into awkward silence. A man in a dark gray suit stepped into the picnic area, carrying a briefcase. 3 agents trailed him, jackets marked in bold yellow. He halted at my bench. "Miss Caldwell." "Yes, that's me. I'm Jude Alvarez." He placed the briefcase down and unlocked it. "Concluding document from the probe you initiated." Dad furrowed his brow. "What probe?" One agent moved ahead and displayed her credentials. "Special Agent Dana Price, Financial Crimes Unit." My mother froze completely. Jude raised a hefty dossier. Across more than 7 years, 23 credit lines were established using Mara Caldwell's identity. Overall unauthorized expenditures, $267,000. My gut twisted, recalling the evenings I marked student papers with debt collectors on the line, making minimal payments on obligations I never incurred for so long. Uncle Ray's expression drained of color. Aunt Celeste gripped the bench edge. Agent Price stated, "We possess federal arrest warrants to serve today." "For whom?" Mom inquired faintly. "For the detention of Tessa Caldwell, Celeste Caldwell, and Raymond Caldwell," Agent Price answered. "Identity fraud, credit card scams, wire transfer deception." Tessa leaped up. "That's absurd." 11 cards sent to your residence," Agent Price noted. "Purchases in your vicinity. Electronic logs and video evidence support it." Tessa's tone broke. "Mara," Agent Price shifted. "Celeste Caldwell, 7 cards, home improvements and vacations." Aunt Celeste wept. "I intended to repay it." "And Raymond Caldwell, 5 cards, mostly for company costs." Agent Price concluded. Uncle Ray surged at me, reeking of alcohol. 2 agents seized him and pulled him backward. Cuffs snapped on, one pair after another. Dad watched as they escorted them off. "Mara," he uttered, "what have you done?" I rose, hands pressed on the bench for balance. I ceased acting as if this were acceptable. Quiet lingered after the agents guided my family members down the trail, restraints glinting. The aroma of herbs and fresh grass grew bitter in my mouth. Dad recovered his rage initially. "You humiliated us." I set the record straight. I replied, "You all continued labeling me self-absorbed while my credit was destroyed." Mom's eyes glistened, yet remained stern. "You should have dealt with it quietly." I attempted that. I touched my phone screen. For 7 years, I submitted complaints, debated with lenders, sent paperwork, endured months for charge removals. I covered minimums to prevent my reputation from sinking. I'm a teacher in public schools, not some hidden wealthy person. Jude pushed a duplicate of the document over the bench. Timestamps, equipment details, shipping locations. He noted everything is documented. My sister Leia remained behind Mom, ashen. "Mara, I had no idea. I informed you I was a victim of theft," I responded. "You chose to view it as a dodge." Nana raised her walking stick. "Allow her to talk," she croaked, and the authority in her voice hushed the whispers. I confronted the ring of open mouths and suspicious glares. If you desire family bonds, behave accordingly. Inquire deeply. Don't select a scapegoat just because it's easy. I departed before anyone could seize my sleeve. 18 months afterward, compensation arrived in gradual installments. My rating improved, and my rental at last seemed truly my own. The day I finalized papers for a modest condominium, I rested on the empty floor, inhaling deeply, and absorbed the peace I'd earned through honesty finally, without wavering.